Good evening, everyone. Happy Marvelous Monday. We are back and we are here to recap season 11, episode 8 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Boots on the Ground.
Season 16,
I said
episode 8, 11.
11.
16, boo.
I told you it's been a day. It's been a day.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
If I was a betting woman, I'll go play 11 in somewhere tonight, honey. Because you got 11 on the mind. But
Girl, I don't know why, but here we are, okay? Look, and I wrote down season 11 too. Ooh, look. Now I wrote it on my paper.
I should wrote down 11.
It was a day. It was a day. But we're here, people. We are here to recap. Good evening, Auntie Diva. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing well. We here. We listen. We support each other. Okay.
Listen, thank you so much. You know, I love you. I love you. Listen, you know, it's been a nice ride so far in this new season. We are on episode 8 already. So far, it has been too much drama, and we've been getting to know these ladies very well. We have some, good footing, I feel, with the ladies and where we stand kind of with them. And before we get into it, as we kind of getting started and waiting on everybody to come in, so far, where are you at? I feel like we're probably about mid-season. It's normally 16 episodes a season, right? So we about right there at episode 8. How you feeling so far?
I'm loving it.
Okay.
I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying?
I
it's interesting. Like I said, I think what I'm really liking about a Royaire is that it's not this like high level nasty drama. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was nasty with the picture showing with Kenya, but we got past that hump, and I'm liking the flow of it. I am. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Listen, we starting to see people for who they really been this whole time.
Well,
I'll leave that there, but I agree with you. I am totally enjoying this season. I don't feel like I've had a dull episode yet. I don't feel like there's a character, for lack of knowledge, right now that I don't really know about or I don't have an understanding of. I feel like that everybody is pouring into the show. I do feel so far, and I've kind of always felt like this since she's been here. I do feel that Drew is kind of on the outs of the group. I just don't feel like she fits in with this friend group. I'm not.
It's disjointed. It's definitely disjointed.
For sure. And I feel like it's been like that since she's been on it. I feel like she's just always kind of the disjointed front of the group. But outside of that, I'm truly, truly enjoying this season, and it's a lot going on.
Yeah. What's that? Sesame Street, they say they used to put up the squares. Which one of these don't belong?
Yes.
It's Drew.
It's Drew. She does not belong at all.
No.
And even in this episode, to me, it showed it even more that you just, we ain't never trying to cut nobody check, boo, but you're going to have to step it up. I think you're going to have to be a little bit more invested, be more honest and vulnerable. I think I said this last week. I feel like because Drew is a actress, I feel like she's putting on a lot than what really needs to be done. So just be yourself, Drew. Stop lying. Be honest. You ain't got to tell us Michael Jordan, your cousin, boo. We know you lie. Listen, we don't need all of that. Just
that was team too much.
Just doing stupid stuff. For what?
Yeah.
Childish.
Yeah, it not making sense.
Yeah.
He was joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, but last thing before we get into this, let me tell you, these titles. Whoa, I got my boots on the ground. I said, y'all better come on, boots on the ground. I was loving
boots on the ground. Okay, listen, boy, you better use that voice. You know what? Let the people know you multi-talented, okay?
Where them fans at? Give me one time. Where them fans at? We got to get some fans, Diva.
Ooh, child. You better let the people know.
Listen, get your boots on the ground because we in Nashville, people, okay? So let's jump right on into this. We are in season 16, episode 8, boots on the ground. And so we open up with Shamia giving us a little country song. You know, I'm loving the country theme this year from the reality girls as well. You know, shout out to Beyonce. Tonight is her opening night of the Cowboy Carter.
Here you go. You love that, honey. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
And we love it, okay? So Shamia opens up with a little country song of everything that's been going on this past, you know, episode as far as everybody's beef and everybody's issues. So if you're really that interested in listening, if you missed it, go and watch episode 8. So we roll right into Mike and Britt. Britt is on the phone with Mike. We are in day 2 of Porsha's B-Day weekend. You know, Porsha and Drew have their issues going on. And so Mike knows, you know, everything that's going on. And so, you know, he's asking how is Britt feeling about Angela and all of this mess going on. And Britt just feels that Angela is in the midst of it all. You know, she has put herself in a situation that she didn't need to be in. You know, she feels that Angela likes to play the victim in a lot of situations. You know, Porsha kind of chewed out Angela on the night before. And so Britt feels that Angela tried to play the victim and, you know, more so try to throw Drew under the bus, you know, and not take responsibility for entering herself in this situation. And we see that later on in the episode when Drew has said, and I want to say she said it last episode, don't put yourself in the midst of this. But Angela has chosen to put herself in the midst. You know, she feels that Angela is just advocating way too hard for someone that Porsha did not want invited to her party. Why are you doing the most? It's just too much. We get a flash of Shamia. Let me tell you something.
Oh, come on now with Shamia.
Shamia Morton, you better share your life. You better share it. And shout out to Gerald, father of the Real Housewives of Atlanta year, okay?
Child, can I get a Gerald?
He coming on in. He coming, okay? He coming in the building. So let her know. Stop Beyonce hating. So you know, unfortunately, Shiloh has an ear infection. And it seems like the things, you know, haven't been doing too well. So as Shamia is out working and out here on Porsha's B-Day trip, Gerald took Shiloh to the doctor's office. You know, they were trying to figure out what our next steps are and how we can get this into a better situation. You know, it made Shamia very emotional as always. It would make anybody emotional dealing with their child, you know, especially when they're not there to be supportive of the child and to kind of hold their hand. So it was a very emotional moment for Shamia. You know, she also opened up about Gerald wanting a son really, really bad. That is one of Gerald's, you know, next best wishes. And so Shamia is feeling the pressure of, you know, trying to, you know, decide if they're going to have a surrogate or if she's going to carry herself. I want to say that they kind of decided on a surrogate and they've been kind of looking to try to figure out who would be their next carrier, you know, but she wants to give Gerald that son because he is an amazing father and an amazing husband to her. So she just feels that that would be a beautiful gift to give him. So shout out to their beautiful relationship and just her vulnerability to be open and share such a traumatic experience that she has kind of been through. You know, she already talked about earlier this year having an atomic pregnancy. And so this is just very emotional for Shamia, but I'm glad that she is opening up and really being honest, you know, about her situation and wanting to support her husband and having that son for him. So that was beautiful.
Well, Cynthia, how about this? Wait, Roya, how about this? Keeping it real on reality TV. Picture that. Okay, picture that. Keeping it real on reality TV. Shout out to Shamia.
Shout out. I mean, the realest, livest story live I've seen on TV in a long time. She got storyline for days. And I'm here. Cynthia and Angela, they have a little poolside meeting on the couch. You know, they're kind of getting an update from last night. As I said, you know, Angela kind of got scolded by Porsha and her friends last night. Angela feels that her loyalty lies to Drew, and she feels that Drew is kind of on the outs of the group. She felt that Drew should have been invited to Porsha's birthday celebration. They don't have that big of an issue, and she feels that she can help mend everything that is kind of going on. And so she's here to advocate for Drew. Cynthia is understanding of Angela being loyal to Drew, but she also understands Porsha. Listen, Cynthia said it herself. Don't come over here messing with Leon and don't let me know about it, because it's going to be up and stuck every single time, okay? She even talked about it earlier this season when Kenya worked with Leon when she was doing her show. She made sure that she reached out to Cynthia, made sure it was okay, and that was it. Cynthia feels like it's messy, but that's the choice that Drew made, and Drew has got to walk in, that situation and figure it out. Angela is still sticking by her friend. She felt that Drew was attacked at the table last night, and she's gonna stand up for her no matter what. No matter what. I'm gonna do these next two scenes and then we'll talk about this. Drew finally arrives. Cynthia was wanting to know where's Drew. Well, she has arrived. She greets Cynthia at the door. Drew, says that she's ready to mend her friendship with Porsha. She wasn't gonna come. She's got a lot going on, but she wants to heal and move forward. Angela wants Drew to check out her room. Drew goes to check out her room. She feels like she's staying in an orphanage. Angela, wants to know if Drew has talked or seen Porsha since all of this mess. She really feels like that she needs to see her sooner than later, that they can get over this hump, and the group can get back together, because Angela is getting a lot of heat off of inviting Drew to this party. Drew said, I told you to stay out of it. You decided to get in the middle of this, so here you go, boo. Angela just really wants them to resolve this, and she wants to help be the peacemaker to get everything back in order. Well, while they're sitting in their room talking, Shamia and Porsha are getting ready. Porsha had some good ribs last night, so she woke up this morning and got her ribs on her belly again, okay? Cynthia and Britt and the ladies are all downstairs getting ready. Drew comes in. She greets the ladies. Shamia wants to have a little pep talk with Porsha because, listen, it's your birthday, B-Day too, okay? We want to have good vibes, good energy. We don't want no drama, no messing, no fighting. Porsha said, she's good. She's leading in light today. She does feel that Angela has been gaslighting the situation a bit, but, she's going to be kind. She's going to greet Drew, and it's going to be a good day. So we'll stop here and we'll go over those first couple of scenes in this episode.
Sure. Okay. So let's start out with how I thought it was super cute when they did the country song. Okay. About Porsha's birthday. That country song was a mess. It was messy. Okay.
Everywhere.
Like they said, what's the licking lollipops or sucking lollipops? I said they
okay. Whoa.
Wasn't it a lot?
It was a whole lot.
A lot, but it was cute, right?
It was cute.
Because Porsha is Porsha. Now let me say this to you. I don't get to see it all the time because I'm so busy. But when I catch a Porsha YouTube video, especially ones with her and Dennis, I think it's super cute. Those two need to just knock it off, get married, because they have great chemistry together.
What's wrong with them?
I love the way they are co-parenting. Now they're co-parenting and filming them videos up in Simon's house, but I guess what you gonna do? Okay. They doing them videos in Simon's mansion, but what are you gonna do? Okay, it is what it is. But I think they're super cute together. So listen, Britt calls Mike, right? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what I found interesting in that conversation. And I'm thinking maybe part of his issue is that he's not comfortable yet around the cameras. And the reason why I'm saying that, because during this FaceTime call, he actually said, I love you. I had to rewind. I had to sit up in my chair. I said, this is the first time I ever saw him show any emotions. And not only did he say, I love you, he said he missed her too, I want to say. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay.
Well, let's not get into it. I think they were just words. Don't be too attached.
Well, I'm attached because all before that, he showed nothing. He showed absolute nothing. She was on the couch crying her eyes out because they done disrespected her at the hair spa opening, showing her with her lips around some man, a private area, and she was bawling and everything, and he just was sitting there like nothing happened. The dog was giving her more comfort. So when they did the FaceTime call and he said that, I sat up, I said, oh shoot, and I had to go back and hear that one more again. But anyway, I'm going to give him a smidgen of some credit because he did tell that chick that he loved her, his wife, and or supposed wife, or whatever's going on between them, even if it's a friendship, you know, thing or situation. He did better than TJ on Potomac.
It was better.
Yeah, TJ on Potomac showed Miss Stacy no love. So I caught that. I got a little Philly feel for it. Okay, I got a little Philly feel for it. So, you know, I liked it. All right. So she talked to them about the whiskey tasting. And of course, she talked to them about what was I gonna say? She talked to him about, you know, how she wasn't really feeling Angela and how she felt like Angela was doing too much. You know, it was a good, you know, cute little scene or whatever. Shamia with her husband on the phone. When you have children that don't have any conditions and they get sick, you get emotional, right? You get emotional because nobody wants their child to like not be well, whether they a baby, are they a teenager, are they adult. You know, parents, you always have this underlining, you want your kids to grow up, you want them to be well, you want them to do well without you, because that's the whole point in life, right? But when your children, you know, get sick, you feel a little something inside you too. And a lot of wives, their husbands are not that intertwined with all of that stuff, because remember, I forgot what housewife it was. It was like, you better take them kids with you. Like, it was like, you know, the husband's like, I'm not watching these kids while you're gone. So right. For her to be able to work and go on the trip, and they have like a child that needs more care than the average, so to speak, and her husband was doing it. And not only that, her husband told her on that phone, have fun, it's okay. Pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but I got this. And I was like, Shamia, you hit the lotto. You got this man that is highly involved with the kids. You live in that Sterling mansion, okay? I mean, who gets that darn lucky? Like, this is crazy. And although you work, I'm sure if Shamia didn't want to clock in nowhere, he would be fine with that. Good gosh almighty, come on, can I get those blessings to fall upon me? Yeah. I said, this man, he is a man's man. I like him a lot. And I'm praying to goodness that we don't find out on the back end nothing crazy with him and this HVAC company.
We died. We come against it right now.
We rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Okay. I'm just praying that doesn't happen, because I'm in love with Shamia in this relationship. And, you know, although Shamia, you know, she got high taste there. She like her designers. I want to send Shamia a pair of poom poom shorts in the name of us. Just
not some Daisy dudes. We got to send her some Daisy dudes.
Send her some Daisy dudes. Because listen, she wear them shorts, don't she?
Listen, with them chocolate legs, baby, they long and strong.
She killing it. So Angela and Cynthia, Angela talking about her loyalty to Drew. I don't know. I like Angela in this space. I do, because we need a wild card, so to speak. And Angela is that wild card where she's old enough that she ain't playing those games, that she gonna say what she said, especially we're gonna see in the end where she was sitting at the door waiting for the ride to talk about I'm not gonna be fake. But we'll get to that. But you know, Angela is needed. So for anybody out there that's not feeling Angela, hold on and hang tight, because we gotta see more. Shamia needs a hairstylist. She should ask Candy to connect her with a stylist that works with Fantasia. I don't know. I'm feeling like
Here.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like she's doing pretty good. So yeah, so they having their little talk or whatever. And let me tell you something. If there was somebody to bring back as a friend, it's our Cynthia. Okay. See, when Cynthia was on there, y'all was dogging her out. If you
was. Oh my God. And I gotta take this moment. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Cynthia the Bailey over at Humble Brag, I owe you an apology. I told you, I don't know if I told you or not. She has a podcast on YouTube with Crystal from Beverly Hills. And I love it so much. It's such a great podcast, but I owe Cynthia a huge apology because I always used to say all the time, Cynthia's boring. I was one of them. And Cynthia, amazing this season. Amazing. I
love Cynthia. I was always rooting for Cynthia. I told y'all we need somebody that's kind of like that even flow, and that is Cynthia. She's a good friend of. Although I do hope she get back her full-time teaching, and so she could get that check back. Because Cynthia's been through a lot. She waited late to get married, and both of her husbands did her dirty. I mean.
You had to do that.
I'm just saying, we got to talk and keep it 100 over here. How you wait late in your life to get married and you got two husbands that just did you dirty? This is just terrible. I mean, so, and her best friend is her baby daddy. Like they another one. They co-parent well. So, I'm rooting for Cynthia and I like her in this friend of role. And I like that she is here and she is back. That conversation with her and Angela, it was what it was. Angela talking about I'm loyal to Drew. I'm when you need a Drew to be here. All right, Angela, whatever. Okay. So you talked about when Drew arrived, right? You talked about that, right? When Drew arrived.
Yeah.
When Drew arrived, and I didn't realize the flight from Atlanta to where they was so short. But when Drew arrived, like you said, Drew is missing something. And I think it's what you said. She's missing this connection. It seems like there's no connection with anybody in the group. And how do the newbies seem to fit in better than Drew? That makes sense. They have more of a place in the connection than Drew. And that's bad when you are part, you've been on there longer than some of these girls. So I don't know what's going on with Drew. I don't know. It's just she's giving us nothing. And later on when she wanted to exit the building, that wasn't even all dramatic and how it should. It just, I don't know. She's not fitting. So Drew, Angela greets Drew, and when Drew saw her room, it said it looked like an orphanage.
I was like, these girls, I can't. Not an orphanage.
Well, I said, oh my God, I cannot right now. You know what, though? The problem when they rent out these houses like that, they're not all going to be master suites. So somebody is going to have to get the kids' room, so to speak. And I will say this, Kelly and Britt, right? Kelly and Britt, they took it well because they looked like they was in the attic part with those beds, right? So they took that room that they got well. And it seems like, I don't know in real time if Britt and Kelly are still close because I heard they wasn't, but it's a shame because it looks like on the show they got
very well, right? Yes.
So I don't know what happened with that. You didn't do the scene with Shamia and them yet, did you? Right? No,
Porsha, right? Yes, I did.
Shamia and Porsha. Yeah. Oh yeah, getting ready to her eating the ribs or whatever. Porsha like her food.
Just like Candy, okay? They gonna come and eat now.
Just like Candy. Porsha like her food. And you know what? Porsha, I think, well, let me say this. I think all the ladies are beautiful. And I love seeing, I just love seeing, people that look like me on the screen. And And I think they all are beautiful, and
their
Porsha
natural beauty.
and their natural beauty. Yeah. I do. I love it. And Porsha though, she a brat, but that's Miss Diane's fault. Porsha is a brat. Like, if you ever, all friend groups, I think we all have a brat in the group that sometimes you just be like, okay, let me leave before I slap them. Because you love them, but sometimes they just do too much. You like, okay, you are a freaking brat, and I can't take it. I had enough. I done did my brat level. I done took it for the day, and I got to go because I'm about to hurt you, even though you love them. Porsha is that girl in the group that's just a straight up brat. And and Dennis, by the way, and this is just a side note, he feed into the brattiness all day long, so it don't help. That girl is a brat, right? But so her and Shamia, let me tell you this. Shamia is a friend. She a good friend.
Loyal to the bone.
Because everything is we guessing by what we see. But everything I see, Shamia is a friend. Yes. I like her. I like her a lot. So I thought that was a cute scene of those two together. And she asked, Porsha, Drew here, are you cool? You good? She said, I'm gonna make it work pretty much. And so I liked it. I like that scene of them together. Did I miss a scene?
Nope, those are all of them. So we are on the bus ride. We are headed to our day activities. As we said, I think you mentioned it, Diva, we are doing the whiskey tasting, and then we are doing a drink making class as well as a tasting as well. So on the bus ride, we have another emotional moment from Shamia. In this moment, I thought this was just, oh my God, they are really doing so good.
Yes, they are.
These scenes this year, with being so vulnerable, with being so open, with being honest, about situations. Shamia gets emotional in the car because she receives a text from an old friendship, that someone she was close with in an old relationship. Shamia mentioned that she was married for a year at one point in time of, that marriage fell apart because of DV. And so that friend ended up reaching out to her and apologizing for her because when Shamia left the relationship, she kind of, broke away from that friendship as well, just to kind of get herself together and figure herself out. And when she tried to explain it to the friend didn't understand, didn't listen. And so the friend texted her apologizing and understanding, what she went through, and very sympathetic to Shamia. And so it made Shamia very emotional, and it makes you feel vindicated, basically, when you have told someone something has happened to you and they choose not to believe it, or they see it however they want to see it, and you get the opportunity to allow that vindication to happen. It makes you emotional. And so Cynthia, was there to support her as well as the other ladies. Shamia did end up asking about Cynthia's mom, and so this is the one thing that I'm loving about the years of Atlanta, because we're able to get flashbacks, Diva, of events that have happened down through the years of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so we had those flashbacks from 2018 when Kenya did a DV video and she asked the ladies to be a part of it. We had Shamia sharing her story, Cynthia's mom share her story. And it was just beautiful to be able to have that flashback moment. And for Cynthia, who knows Shamia from that time, to be there to support her in that moment. So I thought that was just a beautiful scene. Unfortunately, I hate that Kenya was not able to be here during this season, as they had this flashback moment. I hate that Kenya went out the way she did because, it looks bad, for you to support, people against DV, but you did something that was just not nice to someone, and it was violent, and not a hurting way, but a physical way, but a emotional violence, a mental violence. It just was not cool. And that I was just like, wow,
While you're talking about that, Royaire, a lot of men sometimes when they are done with you or it's over and they have maybe intimate pictures of you. I did a story in Trended Topics on my channel one time where the guy broke up with the girl, and he had her children's cell phone number, and he texts the kids their intimate videos and naked pictures of her. The worst thing you could do to somebody is to reshare or to do something like that. I don't care what I find on the internet of you. I'm not going to reshare it. There's some, even if there's someone I don't like, it's but so low I can go.
Yes.
I'd be like, you know what? I ain't even gonna do that to them. I don't like them, but I ain't even gonna go there. I'm gonna just let it be what it is. And I think that people need to have a bar. Yes. And wherever your bar is,
self-respect. You gotta have that self-respect
right?
For yourself. And
yeah, you gotta, because some things, like I think it was Porsha, right? If you dig in a ditch for me, you better dig too, because you're gonna fall in it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so she did go really low. Did you? I'm sorry, I cut in. Did you want to do more? Okay, you just want me to talk about that scene real quick?
Yeah, we can talk about that scene. Just Shamia talked about the one specific first time she remember, her ex-husband putting his hands on her. He knocked her out of her Louis Vuittons and begged her to please, not here, not now. This is not the place. This is not the time. And so I want to say, thank you to Shamia for being so vulnerable, for opening up and sharing something that is a very sensitive topic. Obviously, no one wants to air out their personal business of any type of violence that has happened towards them or to them. But thank you for being open. Thank you for being honest. And thank you for sharing your story. And I'm sure that is going to help the millions of people, who watch around the world this show, and hopefully bring someone out of any type of bad relationship that they're in. So shout out to Shamia. I mean, she is just serving this season. I am here for it. This is how you do reality TV.
This is how you do reality TV. And I do remember that episode because I thought it was so emotional. I really wish that they would go back to stuff like that. Remember when they also had that alter ego photo shoot?
Oh my, I be watching the old Real Housewives, and oh my goodness.
That photo shoot was everything.
The Candy with her laying on the windshield and she was pretending to be the drunk driver.
That photo shoot was everything.
Shout out to Derek Blanks. Derek, if you looking for some new clients, we're here, sir.
We're here. So that photo shoot was everything. Yes. And this particular public service announcement thing was everything, because all of the people that participated, they gave real authentic stories and feelings. And I do remember when Cynthia's mom told her story. And I remember Shamia now more that they replayed it. And Shamia even looked beautiful then, right? She's a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl.
So beautiful.
So for that to come up and for Shamia to say like how embarrassed she was, because listen, DV people, they go through a lot, and it is embarrassing. Who wants to tell their family members that I'm being beat by my lover or my husband or my man? It's like you feel so much guilt and shame over it. And then, like she said, he did this in public. He did this in public where other people saw. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then Shamia has gone through a lot. It's like you got this and it brought you back to that memory. But then on top of that, you're dealing with your daughter needs the antibiotics and your husband is at home dealing with it. And, so just a whole lot. I just like that Shamia is sharing the real and not made up stuff like my cousin is Michael Jordan.
Oh my God. Yes, Miss Steph Nicole. I did see the photo shoot that he did with Cynthia. It was fabulous.
Is it on his Instagram?
It's on his Instagram.
I gotta go see it. Okay,
I want to say it's on Cynthia's as well. It was beautiful. Okay. They just did different types of poses. And I mean, the way he did, I mean, she was just sitting at the table, just like how we are. And they just did different, just little looks and stuff. It was just everything. It was everything.
Oh. I got it.
Cynthia still is serving as the model in her 50s. She's doing it. Go Cynthia.
Go Cynthia.
Yeah. Okay. Whew. So let's see, we finally arrived to the first event, which is the libations of the drink making. Okay, so we have Porsha, Shamia, and Kelly that went to the drink making event, and so they're at the bar, enjoying themselves, getting ready to take shots and just having little conversations or whatever. Cynthia, Britt, Angela, and Drew, they go for the whiskey tasting. Porsha said, after they took shots and had fun, and let me say this real quick. One thing that kind of bothers me with Porsha is that she is just so upset about Dennis and what he's doing on TV and how it's going to make her look and how Pilar is going to look at this. I wonder, does Porsha see how her behavior is on TV? And does she think, or ever wonder how Pilar is going to look at her and think about her? I don't understand why she holds Dennis to this perfection of standard that he can't come on TV and do a job, but you can get on TV and stick out your tongue and lick and shot and everything else.
Porsha is spoiled. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you about that girl. She a brat. She a brat. Listen, a brat is a brat. She is the ultimate brat. Literally, you're not even divorced yet. But listen, she got Dennis to be on her show. What was it? Porsha Family Values or Matters?
Yeah.
She got him to be on that show with her, and he in her fiance at the time, Simon. Listen, Portia's a brat, and she literally has Dennis wrapped around her fingers. Dennis will do whatever.
Honey.
Whatever.
Somebody had said earlier in the chat that they don't know how Dennis deals with Porsha, especially after, I guess she attacked his mom on the trip. Did she attack his mom or something like that?
On Porsha Family Matters or whatever the name of that show was that she did. It was bad. It was so bad. I watched that show. I watched every single episode. Listen, because in my mind, right? In my mind, you know why I say that, Lawson? Because I'm telling you, I got a cousin. She in her 40s, and she's not the only child because her siblings are way, way older than her. And I love her to death, but she a brat. Listen, some brats, they go to their grave, they 80 and they still a brat. That's why I say that. But either way, Porsha and the mother did get into something. It was so bad, Royaire, that the next day in filming, Porsha told everybody to shut their mouth and don't say nothing to it. And the auntie, when the cameras came and pretty much was like, why you not talking? Why nobody's talking about it? She said, because Porsha told us to shut our mouth. And nobody said nothing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lawson said Diva, Porsha isn't a brat. She's 43. She is a manipulator.
Yeah.
Why didn't Dennis marry her? Because Dennis was cheating on her. Just like
Dennis is a piece of work too.
Yeah, I mean, but listen,
I'm rooting for those two.
It'd be the baddest girls in the world, though, Diva. I mean, how you cheat on Beyonce? Literally, how? Make it make sense.
That's because it's who they are. It's who they are. There's some men that just loyal. I'm looking for that man.
Yes, where they
at? That show was good in a bad way. It was. I tell you, I was glued to the TV for the shenanigans. It was shenanigans. It was straight up shenanigans. But you explained it perfectly. That show was good in a bad way. It was a mess. It was a hot, stinking, filthy, nasty mess. Mm-hmm.
Dennis wanted her to sign a prenup. Okay.
Yeah, well, Dennis and that mother. His mother's a piece of work too. His mother, because his mother told her, do you want to be a baby mama or you want to be a wife?
Goodbye.
that. I said, this mother
It's
is
like what,
premature.
7, 8, somewhere around
Okay,
there.
so I remember from that long ago, because it was while Porsha was pregnant. That mother said to her, do you want to be a baby mama? You want to be a wife? Because the mother was trying to get her to sign that prenup too.
Wow.
It was messy. Like Tadette said, it was good in a bad way.
Ooh-wee. Okay. Well, speaking of Porsha, you know, her and the crew, they taking shots, they on top of the bar, they throwing them back, they doing their thing, okay? So we hop over to Cynthia and the crew, and so they're trying to figure out a way to move forward, you know, for Drew and Porsha. And so Drew felt like it would be a good idea. Maybe she should buy a bottle of whiskey for Porsha, you know, get their picture on it, and maybe that'll be a good gesture to kind of get them headed back in the right direction. Kelly wanted to understand what kind of happened at dinner last night. You know, Porsha's friends were very confused on why Drew was not there, you know, when this whole Angela situation of defending Drew. And so Porsha kind of broke down to Kelly, you know, all of the ladies know that me and Drew are cool. You know, we've been, you know, in a good space for a while. So it was awkward for them to not see Drew there last night. And then even more awkward because Angela was throwing, you know, salt on the wound by bringing up our issues and what we had going on. Instead of making people feel comfortable and welcome and want to celebrate my birthday, you know, she was bringing more issues to the situation than anything. And she just couldn't understand, you know, why Angela felt the need to invite Drew when she wasn't even on the call to be invited. You know, Porsha said that she feels gaslighted. She feels gaslit by, you know, Angela's actions. And, you know, she keeps egging on the conversation and she's really over the whole situation. You know, Porsha told us last week when she spoke with Cynthia that she's moved on and she's good and she wants to let it be what it's going to be. Well, Shamia shared, well, since we talking, on the way to the peace brunch, you know, Angela was in her feelings, you know, because apparently there was a conversation between Drew and Kelly. Kelly was throwing some shade at Angela, telling Drew about this. And Angela doesn't know how Drew took it, if she stood up for her. And so that's a little bit of her concern right now. So apparently, you know, Angela's got her mouth and her issues in everybody's lap. Okay, she got issues with Porsha. She got issues with Kelly allegedly and some drama that's going on. She's supposed to be advocating for Drew, but she got issues with Drew not standing up for her while Kelly was talking about her. It's a big, hot mess. You know, Angela said that she has been loyal to Drew and she wants the same in return. Porsha feels that Angela is actually, you know, putting Drew up, gassing Drew up and trying to get Drew to get on Porsha, you know, to make this something that is really not. Angela says that, you know, she missed Drew last night because we're bouncing back and forth in between scenes as the ladies are separate. So Angela said that she missed Drew last night. Angela felt that she was trying to help heal Drew and Porsha's situation, but she felt like she got caught in some stray bullets between, you know, all of the friends and everything. And so Drew said it earlier in the episode. Don't get in the middle of this. You in the middle of it, so here we are. Britt opens up and she feels that Angela plays the victim in a lot of the situations that she involves herself in. Britt felt that it was not Angela's place to stand up and try to mend this relationship between Porsha and Drew, but she felt that Angela should have been more supportive actually at the peace brunch when it came to what Kenya did to her. She did not feel that the ladies came to support her, but she felt actually attacked when everything happened. Angela and Drew kind of expressed that they felt that Britt came in hot. She was doing the most, and then she came in attacking. Cynthia had to stand up and say, wait a minute, I agree with Britt. You can't be having my photos on a poster board in the middle of a room with me kissing and sucking and licking and doing everything else and tell me how to feel when I show up for a brunch that's supposed to be peaceful for me and healing for me. You can't tell me how to show up. So the ladies did understand where Cynthia and Britt was coming from. Angela apologized and Drew did as well. So your thoughts on that, the ladies at their two events?
The two events, I mean, I guess it was cute. I don't know why all of a sudden now in all of these shows, when it comes to going out, they split the groups, some going this way, some going that way. But it is what it is. So it was like you said, it was Porsha, Shamia, and Kelly. I thought it was what it was. It was cute. And Porsha saying that Drew is, that Angela was setting up Drew. Well, to be honest with you, the fans are feeling like Porsha is using Drew as a storyline this season, and the people is bored. Royaire. They're not feeling, and I'm gonna share a screen real quick. They're not feeling Porsha using Drew as a storyline. So fans accused Porsha Williams using Drew Sidora for a storyline this season on Roa. They said Porsha return is a huge flop. This is the people. This ain't us. I'm convinced that since Porsha couldn't film at her house and give much storyline because of Simon, production plotted and told her to be mad at Drew and Dennis. I need Porsha to change the storyline. We're trying to hear more about her and Simon, not Drew. I don't like Porsha making Drew her entire storyline. Let me get this straight. Porsha left Roa to dodge the accusations of stealing Fallon's man, and now she's back and she's still dodging divorce as a storyline, using Drew as a buffer. Hashtag Roa disappointed and bored. The people. So Porsha's storyline is Drew? Good gosh almighty. Y'all get the point. Porsha came back with stale old housewives trick. Drag a storyline with Drew all season. Moving along, Porsha is boring. I'll stop there because how many do we have to read? The people are not feeling her in this Drew situation.
Yeah.
They're over it.
Yeah.
And Boston Blair said, I am the people. Well, that's what the people said. And I mean, it is getting tired because it's like, really, you that mad that your baby daddy filming with somebody, but yet you still married. People got to move on. People got to make their money. They got to make their bread. So, the whole, the outing with Drew, Britt, Angela, Cynthia, I'm glad Cynthia spoke up because she kept it 100. You can't tell, nobody can legit say that if it was them and those pictures were showed of them, that they wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
Who would say that? I would be mad too. And listen, grown people do what grown people do. And yeah, maybe the pictures are out there, but that don't mean you got to show them because everybody got a pass. Nobody should be defined by their past because nobody should be shamed by their past. Because if we we're here, all of us, we walking around with our head down.
Phaedra said every saint got a past and every sinner got a future.
Come on now, holla. Come on, Phaedra. You gotta write her book of quotes. And that's a fact, Royaire. I like that statement.
Yeah.
That's a fact. We will all be walking around with our head down if we was going to be shamed by our past. I think it's wrong. I like the way Cynthia stood up. And I like the way Angela apologized. I mean, the apology, it wasn't heartfelt to me, but I mean, she gave one. We got to move on.
Yes, I agree with you with Cynthia. Cynthia's doing an amazing job. She's really coming in and being the friend to the show. She's standing in where she needs to stand in. She's backing off when she needs to back off. And it's beautiful. I'm really glad that, Britt is really getting off her chest how she felt. The ladies kind of treated her at the peace brunch. Like you said, I'm glad that Angela and Drew did see it or were able to see out of Britt's eyes through the help of Cynthia. The whole conversation with Shamia and Kelly and Porsha. What are your thoughts on
that? I don't even know what really to say. Like it's like we like beating a dead horse at this point. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Either you're going to forgive Drew and move on, or what are we going to do here?
Yeah. And I did not like the way Shamia added gas to the fire, talking about, her and Kelly having issues as well. I just didn't feel like nothing more needed to be added to this. It's already enough going on. If we're trying to keep Porsha cool and not push her to the edge and not see gangsta Porsha, it just wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
I think Porsha yet again is misplacing her anger. I don't feel like she really has an issue with Angela. As she kind of said later on in this episode, she's got issues with her ex-husband and her baby daddy. She got enough issues there to deal with. She don't have nothing extra for these other people. So I felt like it was just a waste of a conversation, misplaced anger, Porsha doing the most, and I agree with the comments. Porsha, let's get into this divorce. Let's talk about the reality of what's going on with this house. Can you afford this house? Where are you working? What are you going to be doing next? We need to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And it seems like she's not really showing up for the important parts of the show. She's just showing up, to lollygag around. It's giving that we should have made Porsha a friend of this season.
Child, you saw the people said they underwhelmed, they're bored.
Yeah, she should have been a friend of. It's
Yeah,
a friend of for sure.
so yeah, I don't know.
Well, we're back at the house, as the ladies are riding on the bus. Cynthia talks about how she had a great time. She said that obviously Britt is a lightweight, but Cynthia was taking them back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She was just going all the way in. I said, go, Cynthia. We see you, girl. So Cynthia was having a great time with the whiskey. The ladies get back to the house. They are drunk, lit, and ready for a nap. So the ladies go on in the house and do their thing. Porsha's talking on the phone to Pilar and to her baby daddy. Her and Dennis, they just have such a relationship. I wish that they would go to therapy, work on themselves, and get married and be, that family that Pilar needs. Because, she already has a father that truly loves her. Obviously, she has a mother that loves her. But it would be even better with them together and in a healthy mental and emotional space. Them together. But, they had a beautiful, nice little conversation. Cynthia comes downstairs to some hot guys, the cowboys, they're making drinks and preparing dinner and getting us ready for a good old fun night tonight, okay? All of the ladies gather in the living room. They're having drinks and connections with each other, and just having a good time. Everybody's dressed up and they're ready for Porsha's birthday dinner for tonight. Well, somebody who was not ready is Miss Birthday Girl herself. Porsha, as she's preparing, she receives a phone call. And so after her phone call, she went from joyful drunk Porsha to mad and pissed Porsha, okay? Now, Porsha comes out of the room. She's dressed in all black, and she is in a moody attitude, says Shamia, okay? Her bestie. Porsha, they asked Porsha, what's going on? You okay? Porsha said, listen, I just got a lot on my mind. I'm tired, but we can go on out here and we're going to do what we do, okay? Unfortunately, she was filming, found out on the phone that Dennis was filming a scene with that girl that she told him to make a decision. And whatever you decide to do, we'll roll with it. Now, she just said that a couple of episodes ago. Now, the real deal was that she really wanted Dennis to choose not to film with Drew, but because you didn't make the decision, he made one for you. So she was piping piss mad about that, but she's gonna, move on. She feels that, he chose business over family, and that was not the move to make. The ladies go outside and they have a little line dance experience with the cowboys, and so they had a good moment with that. It seemed like everybody was having a good time. We have some non-dancers in the group, and that would be Kelly and Angela. They just could not seem to get the line dancing down, but it looked like everybody enjoyed themselves except for Porsha. Kelly said, you just seem like you're off. What's wrong, Porsha? It's your B-Day. We're here to have fun, and you seem so sad. Porsha, expressed again, it's just been a long week. She's got a lot on her mind, and she's ready to go. Kelly asked, how was the whiskey tasting? We haven't heard anything from you ladies over there, that went to the whiskey tasting. Britt said that we had a lovely time. We were able to work through and resolve some issues, and Angela, go ahead and talk about what we talked about. Angela said, Britt feels that I, insert myself in situations and I play the victim. but I'm not really understanding of how I play the victim because I don't feel like I play the victim. And so Britt says, so basically the conversation we had, there was no resolve. You really didn't get an understanding of what I had to say. Angela said that she feels that Britt and Porsha, are sharing the same feeling about her. The night before, they called her Victimina. Porsha says she's a victim. Now here go Britt saying that she's a victim. Porsha said that Angela has been gaslighting her pretty much this whole time, and she's just tired of explaining this situation. She's ready to move on. Britt spoke up and said, well, Porsha, was she invited on this, girls trip at all for this birthday party? Angela said, well, maybe she missed the call. She wasn't on the call, but maybe she missed it. Drew said she did not miss the call, nor did she get a call. So it is what it is. What? I was invited, Angela did the invitation. I came, and here we are now. So it's just a whole big mess. Kelly said, she's going to dismiss herself and go to the ladies' room because it's getting a little too hot for her. In the midst of all of this, Angela wants to know why she's receiving so much heat from Porsha. But when Kelly asked about you and this man, you didn't give her all of this heat that you're giving me about your friendship with Drew. Porsha, we need some answers because the people want to know. Porsha said, you know what, Angela? You can kiss my butt. Cynthia said, well, let's just move on. We just need to move on. We need to let it go. Porsha, do you want to answer the question? She said no. Angela said, I'm not kissing nothing. Everybody else can kiss it. She said, well, you will be the first. They go back and forth and have their little moment. Drew said, well, listen, I want to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, I was not invited to this birthday party. And so, Porsha, I did get you a gift. I bought you a bottle of whiskey. And so I just want to know if you're okay with me being here. Do you want to move forward? How are you feeling? Porsha said, I'm straight. Not on straight. Drew said, well, pretty much. I could tell that you don't want me to be here. It's giving nice nasty. I'm going to give you your gift. I'll leave it in your room for you. I'm going to go ahead and pack myself up and go ahead and go. Well, the ladies stand up. No, we don't want you to go. She didn't say she wants you to leave. We want you to stay. Drew said, obviously, I'm not welcome. It is what it is. I'm going to go pack. And so she made an exit stage left. So I'll stop there and we can kind of talk about so far, the beginning of the dinner up until now.
Listen, I'll keep it simple and clean. The line dance was everything. I thought it was cute. Because at first I was like, oh, here we go. We're not doing this stripper thing, are we? But when it turned out to be the line dancing, I was here for it. And listen, I am Kelly. I got 2 left feet. You got to show me again, and then show me 10 more times, and maybe I'll get 2 steps out of the 20 you done showed me. But I thought it was cute. And listen, Paris came through to style Brittany and Kelly, and he giving up similar looks, but we'll move forward, okay?
I tried to tell you about your boy last week, but
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But anywho, Porsha came in black and she was the Grim Reaper, okay? Yes. And Porsha did that slow slay, okay? Because like you said, she was like, we good.
It was given that when Karen did that walk with Wendy that.
Yeah. Slitter. What did they call it? Listen, Drew didn't know what to say. And Drew, your plan was to try to do this as it anyway, if you ask me. And the reason why I say that is because when she said we're good and you still took all offense to that and was like, I'm leaving anyway, I thought it was a whack as it. I was like, all right, this is stupid because it didn't justify the way that, Porsha said her answer.
Yeah.
Now, who should have left the building would have been Angela.
Yeah. That's who should have sauntered out, in the words of Wendy.
Because when she said all she had to say, yeah, Drew wanted a moment, Emmanuel. Yeah, and it fell flat, if you ask me. It fell real flat. Now, when Cynthia was all innocent and was like, Porsha, do you want to answer Angela question? She said Angela could kiss my ass. And I was not ready. I was not ready. I said, woo, okay. So, I mean, that dinner was messy, but you know what, though? She came on one. Paige, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much love. I mean, Porsha is Porsha, and she did that. She did that, and she said it all calm. And she looked, Angela. It was a mess. It was a hot, stinking mess. That dinner was messy.
Very messy.
Messy, but it was a light shade messy. Versus, you know, we're used to them all screaming and going back and forth. Porsha dropped like 3 bombs and just was like, all right, I'm out.
And I must say, you know, we got to give, you know, praises where praises is due. Shout out to Porsha. Because we used to Porsha going gangster all the way, going down to College Park, you know, straight street hood, okay? But she did good. She held her composure. She ain't cussed nobody out real bad. She ain't hit nobody. She ain't flipped no tables or nothing. She did an amazing job. You know, flowing into this next scene, you know, we had Porsha and Cynthia. They had a moment together. And I want to give a shout out to, you know, Porsha and Cynthia's relationship. Earlier this weekend, I seen a clip of when Porsha and Cynthia got into it on the boat.
Yes.
And you remember that? Get out of my face, bitch!
Yo, that was just. Do I remember? Yes, I do.
That was an epic moment.
If you're a real Housewives of Atlanta fan, like you've been here from the beginning. Yes,
yes. That whole fight was a real thing with Porsha and Cynthia, and I didn't know how well they were going to be able to recover from that. And they really haven't been together too much since that fight. But I thought it was a beautiful thing that Cynthia took a moment to come out and, you know, check on Porsha, lay in the bed with her. Porsha says she's just stressed out. She's got a lot going on with this divorce, you know, the drama of her her ex-husband, the drama with Dennis, and choosing the film with Drew, and, you know, she's raising her daughter. She's got a lot going on. She doesn't have time, you know, for this extra stuff with Angela and her, you know, making issues out of something that's nothing. Porsha already said she moved on. She's letting it go. You know, Cynthia was very sympathetic of, you know, what Porsha's got going on. And she said, I'm here for you, girl. Listen, I just want to make sure that you straight. This your B-Day. We don't want no bombs dropping. We don't want no issues happening. So we got to make sure you good. Shamia and Angela, they gonna check on Drew. And, you know, Drew feels that she's just got enough going on in her life as well. She's got this divorce going on. Porsha is lighting her up with working for Dennis. She's trying to get her music off the ground. You know, it's just a lot between the two of the ladies. And I really hate that for them to be going through the same thing, for them to be fighting about this stupid stuff. They have so much more right now in common than they have at odds right now. Both of y'all are mothers. Both of y'all are going through divorces. Both of y'all, you know, have husbands who are complete buttholes at this point in time with the divorce. So they could be really coming together and supporting one another versus fighting over, you know, I just feel like this whole situation with Dennis and they're working together, it's so petty, Diva. Like, Drew does not want your man. Like, I just don't see that. I don't see it. And for y'all to have been hanging out and being friends prior to all of this happening, and then all of a sudden it's an issue, it just makes no sense, Porsha. You got to let go and grow up and move on. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. So the ladies, you know, I guess Porsha gets to start and feeling better, you know, so they go out and have a fun night by the pool. You know, they put on their little bathing suits. They go out to the pool. They have champagne and drinks. They jumping around, dancing and screaming and hollering. Apparently, it was disturbing Angela. And so she gets up and so she hears some things at night. Well, we roll into the next morning. And so Britt is laying in the bed with Kelly. And Britt tells Kelly, girl, listen, I heard that Angela was recording us last night while we was out by the pool. Angela said that she was on the phone with her husband at 2:30 in the morning and her ears heard some things that she didn't want to hear, and Porsha began to spill all her business out. Apparently, she heard Porsha, said that she should F Charles because of her and Angela's drama, pretty much. Apparently, it got too much for Angela. She decided to come downstairs and confront the ladies and Porsha about all of this. We see in the scene that Porsha grabbed her towel, wrapped up, and immediately walked away, okay? The boxer Porsha was getting ready to pop out. Next morning, Angela's sitting out in the hallway, waiting in her car with her luggage. So Kelly comes out. Good morning, girl. So good to see you. How you feeling?
How you doing?
I'm good. I don't feel like being fake with you this morning, so you don't have to do all of that. Kelly said, I'm never fake. What's wrong? I'm just keeping it real with you. She said, it is what it is. Just go on, girl. And so that ends us off of episode 8 of season 16.
Child. Let me say this. They said, and help me if I get the quote wrong. They said a drunk mind speaks a sober heart or something like that. Whatever that saying is.
A drunk mind speaks a sober heart. That's what they say.
So Porsha was out there being messy because she, once Porsha gets lit, that's it. She lit. This is messy. It's real messy. And yeah, I ain't mad at Angela. That's a grown woman. That's grown woman right there. She was sitting at that door and said, girl, I ain't even trying to be fake with you right now. In other words, I know y'all was out there talking about me last night with a kiki and a ha-ha. I caught y'all. Okay?
Because they also mentioned, I'm sorry, Shamia said that Charles is always out with different men. Britt mentioned in her confessionals that allegedly Charles has a baby out here. Kelly said that all she heard Porsha say is that Angela better stop before I F her husband.
So, see, this is the foolery with people, right? You want a good marriage, but then you're going to sit there and say you about to sleep with somebody's husband. You want a good marriage, but on the show, whether what was real, not real, but this is what was portrayed on the show, that Fallon was your friend, and then next thing you know, you with and engaged to her man. Like this is the craziness to me with people. Why would you ever do something to somebody else that you wouldn't want done to you?
Right.
And to me is not a joke when it comes to sleeping with somebody's husband. That's not a joke. And what they're doing, although it may not seem as egregious, but no different than Kenya Moore showing these pictures of Britt Eady. Is there no difference of y'all sitting there saying this man got kids and what he is and is not out there doing? That's why you got to be careful when you're coming on these shows, right? And everybody on there is single and you the one with the husband. Because it seems like they love to attack marriages that are really intact.
Yes.
And I don't know how intact her and Charles' marriage is or is not. But you know what? She should have thought about it too. And I know it's nice to get a check, but she should have thought about it too in the sense of when you come on these shows, there's nothing is going to stay hidden. Everything is going to get exposed. So she should have been ready for these people to talk about the fact that her husband is or may not be cheating this outside baby. And it would have behooved them to just come and tell the story themselves. You should have came up there on front and just said, listen, we had problems in our marriage. We worked through it. And yes, there is an outside baby.
Right.
So if you're not hiding nothing, there's nothing for them to use against you. So you want to hide and the truth is going to surface. Now, whether it's the first season you on there, the third or the fourth, the truth will rise. So I mean, as shady and messy as that was, I like the way Angela did that because a lot of times the people wait till they get back before they show their real feelings. No,
Right.
they knew off the rip. Angela was not happy.
Hot, piping pissed.
Yo, she was piping pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Piping pissed. So it was good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. You know, I want to say I'm disappointed in Porsha, but Porsha has showed us for many seasons who she is.
Facts.
And so we got to start believing her.
Facts.
The fact that you had the audacity to allow something like that to come out of your mouth, it was horrendous. It was horrible. And obviously, who you've been showing us is exactly who you are. It makes me question everything. I just, and I like I said, as I said earlier, I feel like her anger is so misplaced with this whole Angela Drew situation. And because you're upset with your ex-husband and your baby father, you took it out on a woman who has nothing, who you barely know, because they obviously don't have that much of a connection. They haven't really hooked up a lot this season. And knowing that you have already had allegations that you apparently took someone's husband, to then say that, it solidifies the exact question that Kelly came in asking hot this season. Why'd you take that man's husband? And so maybe we need to revisit the question that Angela asked the other night. But I do have to say shame on Shamia for talking about Charles, because you told us at the beginning of this season that he's a good friend of yours. Y'all work well together. You know, y'all have done some stuff, you know, in the basketball field area, you know, with interviews and things like that. Shame on you, Shamia. Britt, we should be more concerned about your husband because the Cash App dropped last week, honey. This was messy, but it was good.
It was. I said, come on, Roa. And I don't care what nobody say. For me, this is given.
It's given. No, it's given.
This is given.
Yes.
No, listen. She took out the recorder. Now they said it was inaudible. So I don't know what she thought she was recording. How you gonna be a PI and you ain't even getting what they saying, boo?
You hit the mute button.
They said she was recording, but it was inaudible. But Kelly did confirm that Porsha did say that.
She said it loud and clear.
Said it loud and clear.
She did.
Yeah, well, yes, Emmanuel. Let me say this with Angela giving us old school Roa vibes. You better talk. Yeah. She is.
Mm-hmm.
She is.
It is. It's definitely giving old school Roa vibes. It's giving stand on business. It's giving heard y'all loud and clear. And I'm not messing with you hoes. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season turns. As I said, we are on episode 8. We normally get 16 episodes, so we mid-season already, and it's a lot going on. It's a lot.
Where I got to say this real quick. She piping piss because she had her luggage by the door. As soon as that ride pulled up, she was out.
And ready, okay? She leaving quicker than Drew got in.
She out. She out. She was pissed.
But she did say that she's loyal to Drew.
Yeah.
And if Drew said she was packing up her stuff and going, I guess Angela packed. That's her Chicago sister, her Chicago girl. So, Well, everyone, that has been our season 16, episode 8 recap of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Boots on the Ground. At the end of every episode, we ask for your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section for the episode. So for episode 8, on a scale of 1 to 10, let us know what your thoughts are. 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Leave it down below. For me, I'm going to give this episode, I'm going to say an 8.5. I'm kicking it to an 8.5. This served well in my opinion. This episode gave funny, it gave fun, it gave drama, it gave reality, it gave true conversation. It was a little bit of everything in an hour episode, and I truly, truly enjoyed it. Hopefully, going forward, we can work out this whole situation with Drew and Porsha. Porsha can really move forward, and we can get into what's really going on with her and Mr. Simon. You know, hopefully we'll see some conversation going forward with Shamia and this new boy that she wants, you know, her and Gerald are wanting to bring into the world. Hopefully we can get a resolve of Ralph and Drew's divorce situation, because that's a hot mess. And so I truly enjoyed this episode. So I'm giving it an 8.5. 8.5.
Well, I heard you, and I'm gonna roll with you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna twin it today. I'm giving it an 8.5 too. Because listen, Shamia in her realness brings it all the way up to an 8 alone. Yes. She keeping it 100. And that's what we like. And you know what? Let me add, because Angela keeping it 100 too. She sat there and said, I ain't about to be phony with you.
I ain't got time for you hoes.
Me, my man, my husband, the way I dress, the way I look. He ain't had nothing for them.
Nothing.
I ain't got nothing. I ain't doing this with y'all. So she kept it 100. And you know what? Let's add to this. Porsha kept it 100 too. She told Drew, we're good. And then she told Angela, she said, Angela could kiss my ass. So
I'm straight.
I'm straight. So for the realness alone, the whole episode gets an 8.5. And listen, because Britt's husband said, I love you.
Oh my God. You going too far. You going too far. You
listen, that man said, I love you. I was shocked. So yeah. I'm giving it 8.5. I'm good.
Okay.
This is Royaire. We straight.
We straight. Look, we see each other. Well, all right. K Mocha is giving it an 8.5 as well. Queen Dreaming. Porsha left that pool so quick when Angela came down there. With a swiftness. Marcy is giving it an 8. Lisa is giving it a 7. Ace is giving it an 8.5. Katrina, she said that Angela looks like she can be on, not on the Braxtons. Goodbye.
Yeah, she looking like a Braxton. I cannot.
I can't. Doreen is giving this episode an 8. Authentically, Lola is giving it an 8. Ocean is giving it a 7.5. Keisha is giving it an 8. Tiffany is giving it a 6.5. Janet is giving it a 6. Marigold is giving it a 7. Marigold, excuse me. Michelle. So Angela doesn't know Drew. She can't connect with Drew because of Chicago. Okay. I mean, that's what they've been saying, that they're Chicago sisters and that they had the same hairstylist, I think was the other connection that they had as well, or something like that. So
you guys saw somewhere with the connection. It's better than you connected to my husband and then taking him.
Oh my God. Well, Judy is giving this episode a 7. Katrina gave it a 7. Paula gave it a 7.5. Sassy B gave it a 7. Emmanuel gave it a 9. Tara gave it an 8. Lorraine gave it an 8. Claire gave it an 8. And Du gave it a 7. Well, I think we evened out at a strong 8. I think we got a strong 8 overall for this episode.
I think so. I'm
Beautiful. Well, everyone, that has been our recap of tonight. We thank each and every one of you for supporting us. Thank you for each and every one of you that left your ratings in the comment section. We appreciate your participation. I realize I never said this at the beginning of our video, but we were live on Both channels. Make sure you hit the like button on both of our channels. If you're not a subscriber to Chronicles of the Grayhead Diva, make sure you head over to her YouTube channel, hit the like button on this video, and subscribe and check out her other content. And then if you're not a subscriber to Royaire's World, come on over, hit the like button on this video, and subscribe and check out my other content as well. This Friday, we were able to join in on this past Friday, excuse me, we were able to join in on a conversation over at the Juice Radio and Talk Show on Shannon Sharp and this whole messy situation that he's got going on. So if you guys missed that, go over there to our channels and check out that. I'm having a mind just issue today. Check out that. Yes, check out that interview panel that we did. It was amazing. We had myself, Diva, Juice, we had AT2, we had Bree, we had Nadi. It was a wonderful, wonderful time and great conversation. Baker, thank you. Yeah. Baker Tour. And so we had a beautiful time over there. So make sure you go over there and check that out. Tadette is giving this episode an 8. Okay. Next Monday starts the first episode of Basketball Wives. They're back. And so we're going to be recapping that. So bear with us. We haven't watched Basketball Wives in a while, but I think this season is going to be real interesting. I do remember Jackie and her daughter and their whole storyline. You know, that was a whole situation. Jennifer is on here with her new husband. You know, he had some issues going on with fraud, I believe. And so they'll get into that this season. There was a lot going on with that. So make sure you catch up on that and join us for that. Join Diva tonight around 8:30 for trending topics. I'm sure there's going to be plenty to talk about tonight. So make sure you join her as well. Espar gave this episode an 8.5 as well. Okay. Well, Keisha gave it an 8. Well, I believe that is it. Anything else?
No, you did good. We did good. I think that's it. Don't forget, stay tuned because we are the YouTube. We're going to call it ourselves for you. We are the YouTube recap dynamic duo. If we're recapping the show, we got to put it in the atmosphere. We the best.
We the best.
Come through. We know how to stay neutral. We know how to bring through the facts. We know how to break this thing down in a real way so that everybody get to see our point of view. But we love y'all. Thanks for coming through. Like Royaire said, it helps us out. Hit the like button on both our channels. It's a free way to support us both. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And listen, I don't know if you can't tell, know this. Royaire and I love recapping these shows together because we be cracking ourselves up and we have so much fun.
A ball.
Love you, Royaire.
Love you too. Love y'all. Good night and goodbye. We'll see y'all another day.
Royaire's World.